Good evening, folks, and welcome to this week's episode of Beer Rating with Sean Connors. Before I get to my beer, I want to talk a little bit about something concerning last week. Last week I tried a beer, Three Seasons from Kitty Vitty Brewery. I think I gave it a 3.0. The thing is, when I normally give my ratings, it's normally, I have about half the beer gone, I give the rating. And then I post the video, and as I'm posting the video, I normally finish the beer, and if I have a second one, I'll try it. The thing with last week is I gave the rating, finished the video, posted online, finished my beer, and actually by the time I finished the beer I was not liking it as much as I did originally. And with that being said, I had the second beer and I didn't even finish it. I ended up throwing it out, which never happens. So realistically, the 3.0, if I had my time back, I wouldn't have given it a 3.0. I would have given it probably closer to a 1.5, which would be my lowest rating. With that being said, that's happened probably 2 or 3 times that I've given a beer a rating, and then after the review is done, I finish the beer. By the time I finish it, I go, yeah, it definitely didn't deserve that rating, or perhaps it did, deserved a higher rating. So I was trying to figure out how to fix that. And the only way I can think of is from now on, I'm going to do the reviews. I'll give the rating as per normal, and then I'm going to finish the beer offline before I post the video. And if it comes to it that I don't agree with that rating, I'm going to go back and do a second video, which I will video edit into the first video. So basically, the video will end, and then it'd be kind of like, okay, 10 minutes later, I'll come back and I'll give my views on the beer and how it's changed. Hopefully, it won't happen very often, but it is possible that it could happen. And last week would have been exactly that case. I gave it a 3.0. The first beer, I did finish it. The second beer, I couldn't even finish it. I hardly ever throw a beer away, and I poured it down the drain. So I think realistically that 3.0 would have been about a 1.5. Now again, that's only my personal preference. All these ratings are, so take it as you will, but that's what I'm going to do from now on, just so you know. Alright, let's get into this beer. This is a beer from Erdinger, and if people that are following me on a regular basis, you'll remember there a couple months back I actually bought a variety pack of Erdingers. I believe it was 5 different beers of theirs, plus a glass, a specific glass, which I'll talk about in a second. And this is actually the last beer of that 5. And this is the Erdinger Urweisse. It's Urweisse. Now, Weir's is basically, you might hear weizen or Weir's beer, and basically it just means it's a wheat beer. Urweisse, my understanding, is an abbreviation of a German word which basically means original. So in this case it would be an original wheat beer from Erdinger. And with that being said, it's actually, it's a wheat beer obviously, which, and this one's an ale, which normal wheat beers. And this one they've been using the same recipe since 1925 when the brewery opened. The brewery is at Erdinger Brewery, and it's come from the Bavarian area of Germany, a small city, Erding. And it's been around since 1886. So the beer in this is the same recipe that they originally started with. So we'll pour it up. There's not a lot on the bottle, so I'm not going to bother reading the bottle. It's mostly in German anyways, but I did do some research online, and I'll talk a little bit about the beer. And as you can see, it has a substantial head, which is common for wheat beers. Wow, that's quite a bit of head. Alright, so I'll let that settle. I'll just talk a little about it. The alcohol content of this one is 4.9. As I said, it's a 125-year-old recipe. They say they brew it according to the German purity laws. And purity laws came out, I believe, the 1800s. And basically they said that beers in Germany, or that area, Bavaria at the time, could only be brewed using water, yeast, barley, and hops. So you might wonder, okay, well, if it's a wheat beer, how is it brewed according to the purity laws? Well, the purity laws did state that only those 4 ingredients could be used. However, an exception was made to allow wheat to be used as well. And basically, the higher-ups, which I believe was a royal family at the time, they were big fans of wheat beer, so they allowed it. And once again, you can probably hear a big meow. As per usual, this little guy decides to make an appearance whenever he's in the house and I do the video. This is spaghetti. So I'll leave him up here and he's going to take off. Okay, so a little bit more about the beer. They say it's if you go on the website, they call it down to earth beer. And what they say, you get a soft initial taste of malted wheat and caramel flavor with a hint of clove, banana, and yeast. And apparently the yeast flavor is going to be fairly strong, which from what I read, it's common for Urweisse beers, is that you're going to get a strong wheat taste, or sorry, yes, a strong wheat taste, and you're also going to get a little bit more CO2 than you normally would get, which may explain the little bit of head, or substantial head I got. And they also say, wow, quite a bit of head. They also say it's the aftertaste is going to be a lingering finish of sun-ripened hop aroma. Oh. It's actually, I've heard the banana thing there before, but I've never actually got the banana flavor aroma. I'm kind of getting that here. And this is a beer, wheat beer. They say it pairs well with hearty meals, and they say steaks, roasts, stews, that type of thing. Alright, so I still have some beer, but I'm going to give it a taste anyways. And then I'm going to talk briefly about the beer glass I'm using. And this actually beer glass, as I mentioned at the start of the video, this came from the variety pack that I bought from Erdinger. And they got their little label on the glass, which is common in Europe. We see it in North America too, but I find in Europe it's even more so that every beer, if you go in a bar or pub or whatever, they have their own beer glass. So if you order Erdinger, chances are you're going to get it in an Erdinger glass. If you order a Guinness, a Harps, whatever the case might be, the glass is going to be specific for that beer. And there's some, I've heard of some cases whereby you'll go for a beer, and if they don't have a clean glass, you're going to have to wait until they get a glass. So there you go. And honestly, I got a lot of foam that time. Talk about the color. It's not clear by any means. It's kind of cloudy, which is common for wheat beers. Usually wheat beers are unfiltered. One of the ones I did with Erdinger was Erdinger Crystal, or it was Crystal something anyways. And that was pretty clear, but that was intense filtration, which is not common with wheat beers at all. Alright, so a little bit about the glass. It's a weizen glass, which basically means it's a wheat beer glass. You also might, wheat beer, that, like I said, you might hear weizen, you might hear Weiss beer, you might hear wheat beer, you might even hear white beer, but it's all basically the same. So it's a weizen glass. It's they say it's built for head, volume, and aroma. I'll talk about that in a second. And usually wheat beer glasses will hold half a liter, 500 mils, and this is no different. There's actually even a marker on it, 500 mils. And I believe most beer glasses in the EU will have a mark on it, basically saying where the beer should be filled up with, up to that point. Alright, so, wow, it is kind of spicy, not overly spicy, but spicy from a beer. I'm not a big spicy person, but you can definitely, you know, get the flavor. It's flavorful, I like that. I'm not quite sure how much I like it yet, but... Alright, so a little bit more about the glass. Really unique shape, really nice curvature to it. You'll see other glasses, kind of thing. These are Pilsner glasses. Big difference. Pilsner glasses are usually a lot smaller, and they're normally straight up and down, where the weizen glass normally has curves. And the little bit about the, as I said, they say the glass is built for head, volume, and aroma. So volume, obviously, half liter, so you're going to get a lot of beer in there. The beer itself, it widens at the top, as you can see, and that's basically to hold the head, because wheat beers in general are known to have substantial head. So it widens up here just to give it a little bit more room for the head, basically. And the top of the lip actually curves in a little ways, and they say that's basically to trap the head, and at that point too, it's also catching the aroma. A lot of the aromas from the beer is from the head. If you pour a beer or a soda type thing, you see little particles kind of bouncing around, but this is apparently kind of holds it in. And the glass is tall and slender, and basically they say that's to show off the color and also to show off the carbonization. Which this has more CO2 than regular Weizens, but you're not really seeing that here. But that's another thing of the long glass. And they say the narrow bottom down here basically traps the sediment. As I mentioned, Weizen beers, as a general rule, they're not filtered. So you're also, when it settles in, you might get a little bit of particles in the bottom. So they say the glass is in such a shape, it's narrow in the bottom to trap that sediment. A lot of people, they'll drink it down to, the last inch or so, and the last inch or so is a lot of sediment to leave it. Other people, they think it gives it a little bit more flavor. All right, so that's basically, a little bit of knowledge on the Weizen glass. Another thing, if you go to a bar, I'm not sure about in Europe, but in North America it's quite common that if you order a wheat beer, they'll give you a slice of lemon or a slice of orange on the beer. And it's actually recommended by beer experts that decline the citrus garnish. Because basically the citrus garnish, the acidity in the garnish, whether it's an orange or a lemon or a lime, will actually kill the head of the beer. So you're actually losing your head. So they say you should decline that. Alright, so now I got to give it a rating. The Erdinger Urweisse. I like it quite well. My ratings, again, I'll explain it. 1 is not going to finish it. A 2 is I'm not a fan, but I'll finish. I'm not going to waste a beer. A 3 is a good beer. A 4 is a very good beer. And a 5 is out of the heavens, best beer I ever had. So for the Erdinger Urweisse, this is the last of my Erdingers. Apparently there's another one, Oktoberfest, I haven't seen, but I'm going to try to come across it. They also have an alcohol-free one, which I'm really not going to bother at this point. Alright, so my rating for this week for this beer. It's an easy drinking beer, I like that, and it's flavorful. And for me, the two normally don't go together, so I think I'm comfortable giving this a 4.0. I'm actually really enjoying it. I'm definitely going to finish it, and I actually might pick up some more down the road. Also, the bottle is different than the other bottles that the Erdinger came in. This is, I think they call it a Euro bottle. It's one of the original beer glasses type thing, and this is the beer for their original recipe. So there you go, folks. I think I'm comfortable giving it a 4.0. Basically, I'm saying it's a very good beer. Weekend's coming up. By all means, try to pick one up. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions, any comments about this beer or anything else, by all means, post it actually on my YouTube channel, which hopefully you have subscribed, or my Facebook page. And basically, the Facebook page, I post all the videos, so you can go there and that'll link you to YouTube. So please subscribe to the YouTube and join my Facebook group. And it's all the same name, Beer Rating with Sean Connors. So there you go, folks. 4.0 for the Erdinger Urweisse. Until next beer, as always, enjoy responsibly. Cheers.